A very good day to you. Welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Jadel Kabir. So glad that you're joining us once again for political conversations. Post-2022 presidential elections, new president, new deputy president. Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is now our former president. Prof, how are you doing today?
Wonderful.
So much to talk about, including what you said yesterday on our video. We called it a blunder. You are so much criticizing Ruto's move to appoint the 6 judges. From the comments, I think you need to address this. Didn't people elect him? I think that is what I was getting. Did people elect him to do exactly what he's doing?
No, they elected him to be president. But being president is not synonymous with being reckless, perhaps. The two are different.
No, that is that's a very harsh statement.
No, but we know we must call out our leaders, put them to account. Well, this is our country. I said very clearly, Uhuru did not appoint the 6 judges. Out of a list of 41, one I think passed on, God rest their soul. So out of the remaining 40, he did not appoint 6.
Yes.
And he said there were reasons for not appointing. And my argument was very, very simple. Do not be in a hurry to please people. You are the president of the Republic of Kenya. Your work is not to please people, it's to work for people. Sit down in the office, look at the file. In principle, you are saying you are going to appoint them. People know you will appoint them, and you said that during the campaign. But sit down, look at the file. Maybe you could find something in that file and tell Kenyans, now I understand why Uhuru Kenyatta didn't appoint these 6 people. I'm very sorry. Or there was no reason, and I'm appointing them. Yeah, simple. But take time to look at the file.
Our conversation for today is...
Even today I had forgotten about the names. I have seen one in the Kenya Gazette.
Yeah.
There is a person there, how can he be a judge? Even if you went to court and that is your judge, surely you can't even know how. Even me, if I went before such a judge, what justice do I expect? People are taking money and wanakana kwa camera, moving up and down with money, looking harassed and embarrassed when they were caught. Oh, come on, this is our country. And we will fight for this country. Because this is the country we want to be our grandchildren and their grandchildren. So we must fight for this country. When something is wrong, we shall point out it's wrong.
My conversation for today is the future for the opposition. I think you've just said right now, we will fight for this country.
Yes.
Some say Ruto has placed Uhuru at a crossroad, giving him a job while he's still the Azimio Council's chairman. Will Uhuru play a role in the opposition this time around, now that he has been given a job, although he is in the opposition?
Uhuru has been president for 2 terms. It's time for him to do other things. Why would he be in the opposition? So what? We don't want that kind of democracy, where a former president come back to oppose the government. How? I'll be very offended as a Kenyan if Uhuru stood on some platform to attack Ruto. I'll be very offended, extremely offended.
Just before he was sworn in, he said, Raila is my leader, and he's still the Azimio's council chairperson. Yes. Does this mean we're going to look to see him leaving the council?
No, you can. What are we leading a council, of course, it's even awkward. I don't see why he should. But even if he chose to continue being part of Azimio, what I don't want to see is active engagement in politics, especially opposition politics. We want to establish a tradition in this country where we hold free and fair elections, where the winner takes power in a nice way from the person who is leaving, where the retired president is accorded respect and honor in retirement. That is not going to be possible, where if people retire, they come back to attack sitting presidents. So when people say Uhuru should be in opposition actively, I don't understand what they're talking about.
Do you think Ruto foresaw this and that's why he gave him a job, so that he doesn't work with the opposing side?
Even that giving him a job was in bad taste for both of them.
That's how so?
Why? That's not the time. Go to State House, take time, have tea with Uhuru later, then ask him. This is akin to somebody appointing you just from the roadside. What I'm saying is populist presidents and leaders have never been good to any country. If you are led by populism, you'll disappoint in the end. Just do your job. Stop being populist. You are not in an election campaign. You are the president of the Republic of Kenya. Stop being populist. Just work for the people.
How then can someone distinguish populism and radicalism, which people want to see in a leader? I think people want...
Why do you even want to be radical and you are the president? Just work. That's why I said about this, when they were talking about state capture. I told them, no. There's nothing like state capture which you want to form a tribunal for. Let me see him form that tribunal. State capture is just tap. Unafunga mferegi.
Yeah.
Yeah. As the president, you just switch off the power.
We know.
Turn off the tap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they just, it's like fish in a pond. You drain the water. The fish just die.
It is that simple.
It's simple. You don't need to talk about it. You don't need a tribunal. And in fact, we want Ruto to move against state capture. We want to see it. We want to see these Ngorokos who are milking this country. We want to see them starved of government tenders. We want to see tenders given in the open, where even a chicken seller from Surgoi can qualify for a 1 billion tender.
Tell me though, yesterday you told me, leave Raila alone, let him do what he wants
and leave Raila alone also.
What will the country look like if you don't have, some of us have grown with Raila in opposition. What will the country look like?
Look for somebody else to be your opposition. Face the consequences of your choices. Yeah. Raila was not born to suffer for you. He has suffered enough for you. Yeah. And you didn't appreciate it as Kenyans. So what?
I'm trying to pick...
Suffer your own consequences. If Kenya becomes a one-party state, so be it. If Kenya becomes a one-party dictatorship, so be it. Those are the consequences of our choices.
I'm looking at names in my head, and I just want you to tell me, is there someone you think can replace Raila in the opposition, especially in this dispensation, this regime?
Wamama wamezaa watoto. One of them can spring and surprise us. But if we are looking from the current crop, who can oppose Ruto? Ruto is an ajak wa kiti. I don't know whether you have seen how he's working already. Overnight. Things are moving. You feel like you didn't have a president. Yeah. Now you have a president. How can you oppose Ruto? It can only take Raila for now, from the people we know. The rest may be hecklers here and there, docile fellows, sleepy. But I don't see anybody opposing this government. No, not from the current crop of leaders. It doesn't mean there are no people. You know, when Raila exits and creates a vacuum, and power does not like vacuum, somebody can fill the vacuum. And then we say, here is a man to take on Ruto and the government. But for now, I don't see.
None at all.
These are cowards.
What role does the opposition play in a country? We saw that since 2018,
yes.
Ruto actually said he will not have a government where a handshake comes and interferes with the opposition. He needs opposition as it is.
Yes.
What does this mean for the country if we have that 2018 to the end of
Ruto has said, and for good measure, he doesn't want that kind of arrangement. No.
Does this mean we are...
Let him run his government. If there's opposition, let the opposition keep Ruto on his toes. If there isn't one, let him just have a free ride.
Will it be a free ride?
Of course, it's possible.
We have seen what is happening in Parliament. Yes, they have gotten their speaker, the numbers, people are switching.
Yes.
Will this dispensation be very easy for Ruto to govern?
My friend, Ruto is a tough man, and I've said many times. These MPs, even if he had only 10, he will get 200 before 1 month.
Okay.
Ruto already has an absolute majority. There is nothing Ruto will want to pass in Parliament that will not pass. Nothing. He has the numbers. This time he has the numbers. Forget about when they used to say they had numbers. Now he has the numbers.
Better than Uhuru's numbers?
Oh, of course, much better than Uhuru's numbers. He has the numbers to do anything. He can make a constitutional amendment tomorrow. He has the numbers.
What then does that mean for a republic where
it is good for people? Again, sometimes, you know, an opposition in a democracy is good because democracy is as good as the people are a vigil. If you go to sleep, you have no democracy. Anywhere in the world, including America, the world's largest democracy. They are always continuously awake. So when you go to sleep, there's no democracy. If you look at the making of dictatorship, it is situations where there's no opposition, where the dictator is benevolent, where the dictator is before you know he's a dictator, he's a very, very good person. Yeah. All of them, including Hitler, they started off as very popular people. And then there's no opposition. Then Moi. Then you accumulate power. Then you are the only one around. That's what happens.
Notable names though. Martha Karua, Kalonzo Musyoka.
Yes.
Who else? Right now we have Martha Karua, we have Kalonzo Musyoka, we have Charity Ngilu. Among them, who is likely to take on government if Raila says, I'm going to take a rest?
There is nobody. It's not among those ones. Because people like Karua can do, yes. But what do they need? The kind of resources they need, they don't have. The kind of networks you need, they don't have. You know, you must also be a person who the president can't even touch. Yeah. You think you can touch Raila? She will burn the country.
Okay. You need the numbers too.
You need to be a person with a base. A person who is feared even by government. Mother Karua will fear her. She's a good lady, but she doesn't have the muscle.
Yeah.
Then she comes from a community that is almost solidly behind Ruto. The Kikuyu community.
Yeah.
So even her own people tell her off.
Kalonzo Musyoka.
Kalonzo Musyoka can if he had the spine.
The spine.
Yeah, but that's not his type. He's not that person. That's not his kind of politics. He's a gentleman. He's now the gentleman of Kenya's politics. Kalonzo Musyoka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is Ruto's free ride for the next 5 years.
10, not even 5. 10. Who will oppose Ruto? I'm not seeing.
You told me not to talk about succeeding Ruto yesterday. So
how can you succeed Ruto? Ruto is not a man you can succeed. If people couldn't stop him from going to State House, now that he's there, how can you stop him? Only Raila can give him hell if he chose. You know, Kenyans forget very fast. There were times when people like Moi, when Moi in particular, there were times even when Kibaki was almost chased out of State House. There were times when Moi almost ran out of this country. You know, people forget very fast. Opposition politics, if it is rebellious, the kind of demonstrations, night meetings, schemings that were going on under Moi's time. I've heard Moi say within reach when I was there. Yeah. It was not his being president. So who tells you if there's rebellion, you will have to finish 5 years? You can go home in a year's time.
How about those that would think Raila's time is up?
Yeah, you see, it depends on how they are looking at it. Raila himself, if you are looking at age alone, then you are also not informed.
Okay.
There are people who have been in power in this world over history. You just Google. It's just on your phone. Google. People who have led countries in their 90s. Google, they are there. 80s, they are there.
So for now, it's up for Raila Odinga to decide.
Raila will be 82 if you go by your 5 years. Who tells you it must be 5 years? This is politics and it's about power.
Anything can happen.
Yeah. But even in 5 years, Raila will be 82 years. Who tells you at 82 he can't run? His father offered himself at 81. When Malaysia were faced with a rogue prime minister, they went back for a former president, a former prime minister. Is it prime minister or prime minister? At 93, to come and write things. Hey, my friend, where?
Thanks so much for tuning into our conversation. My name is Gerald Cabrera. That is the future of opposition. We'll have to wait and see how Ruto's regime will look like, how he will address issues that are burning in people's minds. Until we do talk again, my name is Gerald Cabrera. Have yourself a lovely rest of your day.